We have with us Dr. KJ Ramesh, who is a former Director General, Indian Meteorological Department. And Dr. Ramesh will be talking on the topic application of remote sensing and modeling for water related hazard mitigation. Over to you, Dr. Ramesh.
Today, we are discussing about the geospatial opportunities in water resources in this particular session. In the context of new guidelines, liberated guidelines provided by the Government of India a couple of days before, and that should help us to maximize our uh, our efforts in making needed applications, urgently needed applications in water resources management. What we have been doing so far was all hydrological modeling, taking from the rainfall received on ground in different sub basins of India and river basins of India, using customizing those models with SRTM 30 meter and other land use, land cover data that are available in public domain. So that was giving some amount of inflow assessment through hydrological responses from the rainfall after meeting all land surface budget, etc. So that was not good enough for really taking that information forward for hydrodynamic modeling, doing a actual overflowing of modeling of overflowing of river banks leading to flooding in the floodplains. And at the same time, we had a similar difficulty from the heavy rainfall falling in urban areas, leading to urban floods because of not having very fine scale resolution of topography and land use, land cover data and attribute other attribute informations. So now with the possibilities have opened up, I think very soon in partnership with government agencies and the industry, so the required data sets will become available at the earliest possibility for hydrological modeling, and then the hydrodynamic modeling leading to riverine floods estimation, then urban floods assessment, and demarcation of inundation in urban areas, etc., will become possible very quickly. And the basis for doing that, one thing is the geospatial data, both topographic and thematic information updated to the resolutions which are permitted now, very fine scale resolution, 1 meter accuracy of topography, and a height point of view 3 meters, and which is far better than what we used to build our models so far. And those things will definitely help us for from the domain side. We have daily archival of rainfall data and the temperature data which are required for computing hydrological response at river basin level or hydrological response for urban landscape level, urban watershed level. So that rainfall data and the temperature data is archived right from 1901 to current. And then now we have a system of blending that updated analysis of rainfall merged with the satellite estimation of rainfall, radar, Doppler weather radar estimations of rainfall, and the microwave satellite data. We have three different sources of data, and then the automatic weather stations and automatic rain gauge stations, not only of the India Meteorological Department, but the telemetry rain gauges set up by the Central Water Commission and the telemetry rain gauges set up by different state governments. If you talk about the government of Karnataka, they have about 7,000 telemetry rain gauge stations at panchayat level implemented and currently operational. So all that data goes into the 6 hourly update of the rainfall scenario for assessing the real-time responses of hydrological modeling and the subsequently hydrodynamic modeling, leading to the demarcation of clear riverine flooding or urban flooding. In terms of tools are already available, only the backend data is required now to do that. And these are the real-time applications I just talked. To support with this, our GIS tools, geospatial tools should guide how the existing water resource got to be managed, management strategy and sustainability strategy also. As far as the management strategy is concerned, already India Meteorological Department and CWC and NRSC have brought out a report on the availability of the resource itself from the decades of 1950. Overall water resource in the country from the decades of 1950 to the decades of 1980 and to the decades of 2010, despite global warming and the temperature changes, whatever rainfall patterns changes happened from one decade to another decade. Overall, as far as the resource availability is concerned, not a significant decline has happened. No decline, but there are, if you take river wise, river basin wise, there some rivers are showing decline, some rivers are showing increase. Overall, as a country, we are not short of about 3000 odd BCM is available even today in the decades of 2010. Although some, as I said, some rivers have shown decline, but not appreciable as a country. So, as a country, we have a good opportunity still to embark upon a more appropriate and equitable distribution of water that is available for our best management to meet the consumptions of drinking and as well as industry and the agriculture. Agriculture is the most important thing. We have to meet the agriculture requirement. And agriculture requirement, reservoirs inflow estimation is the very important thing whenever rainfall happens, wherever it happens. So, inflow of all reservoirs, medium, minor, and large reservoirs, inflow estimation mechanism got to be put in place. That again comes from the rainfall and runoff estimations on the hydrological models, which I talked about a few minutes before, and inflow forecast for each of the reservoirs. And then depending upon the anticipated inflows, if more than the holding capacity of the reservoir inflows are expected, then we have to plan the release strategy also. Without having this kind of inflow estimation and release strategies appropriately, we had seen the Kerala floods a couple of years before, and the abrupt release of water from the reservoirs led to downstream flooding. So these are some of the issues which you have to immediately build those guidance tools and the decision support tools for the reservoir management through real-time estimation of inflow forecast, taking the geospatial tools and customizing those geospatial tools for the each of the subcatchments and each of the reservoirs in toto. That is a very priority work which is required to be built for this country. And on the other hand, when the reservoirs get a good storage, water is released for irrigation in the ICAT and canals, etc. And that should become in an optimal releases. We should have a SCADA system sort of thing for each of the reservoir. Out of the water released, how much got to be used at the downstream and how efficiently that can be used. So water use efficiency options for drinking purposes, for irrigation purposes, for industry purposes got to be quantified, and then daily monitoring of the consumption by putting the sensors and maintaining a SCADA system is required. There again, a lot of integration between the sensor data and the geospatial data becomes a crucial partnership building. So there again, a lot of innovation tools and engineering tools combined with geospatial technologies got to be blended. And in terms of next point is how to sustain these resource. So we have to build guidance for reuse, recycle, revitalize and recharge the surface water and the groundwater options also in times to come. So for that, what we have to do is we should create favorable zones of water recharge and water capturing, water conservation, which we previous speaker talked about it. And that effort got to be scaled up in a big way. And at a farmer's field scale, that kind of guidance should ultimately be provided so that whenever rainfall comes, particularly for the farmers of rain-fed agriculture who are cultivating for us the nutrition related production, agriculture production related to pulses, oil seeds, and cereals. Their um, uh, water capturing and water conservation options got to be created to them in their own field or neighborhood as a community resource. Water should be captured as and when it comes, and it should be used as a supplementary irrigation during the dry spells to protect the crops. So we have to create basis for doing the recharge and water conservation, and recharge is for recharging the aquifer to see that groundwater level goes up. For that, we will have to provide a guidance by the hydro geomorphology knowledge and guidance, and where the shallow aquifers are there, aquifer charging opportunities got to be suggested to them, so that recharge of the groundwater can happen through mapping those potential aquifers where groundwater recharge can become possible at the quickest possible time. So these are some of the sectors where geospatial technology and engineering knowledge and the hydrogeomorphology of remote sensing knowledge got to be put together, brought to be put together to see that ultimate user is benefited, and country is benefited in terms of managing the water resources in a most equitable manner, and need based supply of water can be accounted at all levels, and see that sustainability of the resource also can take place by taking appropriate recharge options and suggesting those recharge options to be established on ground is also the responsibility of knowledge groups like geospatial professionals. With these words, I wish all the best for our forthcoming efforts with the liberated geospatial guidelines, and make our country rich with effective management of natural resources, particularly water and agriculture. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and joining us to share how application of remote sensing and modeling can be used for water-related hazard mitigation.